Canadian Outdoor Singles Championships. I'm Jake Shuknik, joined by Phil Clark. How you doing, Phil?
Hey, good, thanks, Jake. And yourself?
I'm doing good.
Another beautiful Winnipeg morning.
It is beautiful here today. Feature match here. We got Grady Long, who's on the mat right now from Alberta, playing against John Barron, the resident Manitoban.
Yes, John's a left-hander and usually fairly consistent.
Okay. He's got some mint-colored bowls there. I don't know, aqua type with white speckles, and then Grady has the blue bowls.
Yes, we can actually see the difference in them from one end to the other. Makes it a little easier on us.
I believe that Grady's 2-2 and John is 1-3. So John needs to win out if he wants to have a chance to make it to the knockout stages.
Yes, and he's consistent without it being sensational. He worries a lot of bowlers with that consistency.
Robbie tells me that he's out here every morning around 7:30, out here practicing every day of the week. So
yes, John, he doesn't live very far from the green, so he pops down and has a go, like Robbie.
Yeah. Robbie lives nice and close, so.
Some of us are a little further away and don't get the opportunity. Interesting, John playing his backhand here, and I think he's drawn a beautiful shot. I always nipped the jack to his own, I would say.
That worked out okay for him, I think.
Yes, I thought he was going to dead draw it with that.
Just a little too quick for that, but worked out in his favour, so. See what Grady can do with his third bowl here.
He's taken a lot of grass, which is needed on this rink, on that side.
Yeah, that swoopy hand, and that's a pretty close bowl.
That's a good bowl.
That'll be number 2.
I think the green has quickened up again, Jake, a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it has, now that the sun's out, wind's blowing. Things are drying up a bit.
It's starting to get that nice look about it as the green is disappearing and heading towards a bit of brown.
We'll see what John can do here. He's got a couple of receivers if he does want to tap it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's just looking to get another one in the head at this point.
John never hurried, never rushed. Takes his time, very deliberate.
Definitely not short with this guy.
Oh, just a little narrow.
Grady's got the last bowl at the end here.
He's playing his backhand.
Grady Long is the president for the Long Bowls Association of Alberta. It's a great shot there from Grady, but unfortunately just chipped it right back to John.
Yes, he picked up the jack quite nicely. Unfortunately, for Grady, John had a beautiful receiver. So today might be the big movers' day.
Yeah, that's what they say. It's sort of an important day here. If you can get that 4th win, you're guaranteed to play into the knockout rounds for the guys.
And then there are a few chasing them today, so it'll be look out. A couple of interesting games going on over on the artificial too today, so as well as here on the grass.
Now it's interesting in the conditions of play. It says that if you win greater than 50% of your matches, you advance to the knockout rounds, except if there are 15 or fewer entries, which for the women there's only 11. So I think that means for them it's just after they've played their games, whoever's ranked top 4 is then going to be playing 1 and 2 for gold and 3 and 4 for bronze, is I think how that's going to work.
I believe so. I was talking with Ed Mulholland, the chief umpire, today, and he seemed to be of that opinion.
So that makes it a little trickier for the women, as you really need to make sure you're in that top 4, top 2 at least, to give yourself a chance.
Yeah, if you're in the top 2, you're a big shot with heading for gold or silver. But I believe that's a little bit packed too at the moment.
So John's playing a bit of a longer jack here. That's probably 2 or 3 feet from the tee as he rolls his first one into the ditch. Looks like the marker has a pink colored chalk, as I saw her pick that bull out. John left some chalk on it, and it's pinkish to show up on that bull.
Yes, I'm afraid the white chalk's just not cutting it with some of them, especially my white bowls. No, until the coloured chalk turned up, I think some of the markers might have been a little bit frustrated.
Rink next door, looks like they're just zipping along between Derek Dillon and Ray Noble, as Ray's picked up 2 in the first 2 ends. They're already playing their 3rd. Speedy guys.
Yes, they're racing through it. This will be a pretty steady game. John's never in a hurry.
And that'll be shot itself there from Grady.
Yes, jack high, a little narrow, but after they dropped a couple short.
This looks like a better bowl here out of John. And that should be shot, I think.
That will be shot, I'm sure. Although it pulled a fair way across. John's resplendent in his umpire's red there, Jake.
I was just going to say, he looks like he could be doubling for an umpire with his red hat and red shirt.
He may well be at some stage today. I don't know whether when he has his break, whether he's umpiring.
I don't think so, but I don't know that. And that's a great shot there from Grady.
It's a great ball from Grady, yes.
So Grady's lying 2 there now, I think.
Yes, he's pulled the jack across to his narrower bowl from earlier.
John's going to go down and take a look at that.
This could be a fairly tricky shot for John if he plays this hand, the narrow hand. Because it has been holding a little bit on the wide side there. Quite a tricky green, number 8, with one side very swingy and the other side holding.
Makes it tough on the players, as depends on what your bowl does and what you personally like, whether you like to draw or like to play right up the middle.
This will be interesting. Looks like John is going to play the wide side.
I know that would definitely be my preference. I enjoy a nice wide draw.
Although, no, he may, being a left-hander, he might have me confused too. But I'm pretty sure he's on to that.
Yeah, you're right. He's
wide side.
Playing that wide side. I think he's narrow, though.
He's narrow, yes, and wicks a bowl, unfortunately, there. He would have had pretty good weight, but I'm not sure it would have remained in any rate.
So Grady's holding 2 here, just needs to draw in to get 3. See if he can replicate his last bowl. And Grady, of course, did play on the wide hand last time, so I would expect him to do the same here.
And he seems to have quite a bit of grass here. If he comes around those first bowls. Oh, here's a lovely bowl here.
And
well, now.
Bounds, though.
Whoa. Did not stop. It's very fast coming through there.
So it's definitely 1 for sure for Grady, but it looks like 2 from here.
Yeah, it's difficult to say who is second shot.
John's given up 1 for sure. Might put a tape to it. Nope, just saying 2. So it'll make it 2-1.
2-1 to Grady, yes. And it looks like the guys next door are really racing.
Yeah, 2-1 for Ray Noble over Derek Dillon after 3 ends, so they're playing their 4th.
Here's the jacks down, and here are our guys 1 end behind already.
Yeah, yeah.
Grady is sticking with the wide hand.
So I think he's probably going to try to stick with that wide hand the whole game, would be my guess, if he can figure it out. Although based off that bull, I could be very wrong.
Yes, he's run through a bit, but his line's not too bad. It's just the weight, which may be tricking the boys a little bit this morning, because I'm sure it has picked up just looking at it. John playing the narrower hand.
And we'll see if his weight's any better. He's also well past.
Yes, but he has the line, and Grady wasn't too bad on the line.
The mat is up maybe 10 feet from the tee, so that might be why these fellows are playing a little heavier. That's a good bowl there from Grady.
Good adjustment. Kept fairly much the same line, but taking the weight off. This ball seems to be running a bit from John again.
I think it's just his weight. He's got that line down.
Yeah, he's
really
got
good.
the line down pat. Yes, he's just running a little heavy.
So I don't know if you can see it much in his delivery, but Grady also does, I think it's either 5-pin or 10-pin bowling. I think it's 5-pin bowling that...
Yes, it looks like a bit of a 5-pin stance. It's a lovely bowl.
He's very involved with. That's a great shot there from Grady.
John thinking now of changing his hand. And he's taken lots of grass, and I think he's worked the weight back pretty well.
Not much better weight there. So Grady's asking what the count is, and the marker says 1. 1, maybe 2. So you yourself, being from Australia, next door Derek Dillon is also an Australian native, and you said there's one more here today as well.
Yes, Gary O'Connell as well, as an Australian, and we also have our friend from New Zealand.
Which one is?
Gary Pickering.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
I should have known that.
So, yes, there's been a little bit of argy-bargy between the Australians and the New Zealander, as usual.
Gary is a professor at the University of Brock, and that's the school that I went to. He teaches how... I don't know the official course title, but it's basically how to make wine.
Oh.
So, I played against him out of the Niagara Falls Club quite a few times, but funnily enough, I never bumped into him at school.
Ah,
so I never saw him.
Isn't that interesting? You can go to the same school and
Yeah, never saw him.
Never saw them.
I was talking to him earlier, actually. I think the last time I saw him was probably 2 years ago here. I played him here 2
Yes.
years ago, so funny how that works.
It really is. You can run across people everywhere and anywhere. Although, I must say, I've never run across anybody I knew back home in Australia, here in Winnipeg. I guess it's just not a
destination
major
spot.
destination.
Well, that's just about work. That might have done it.
Yes, he's tapped his own ball in there. Of course, John is married to Marilyn Barron, who happens to be Clarice Fitzpatrick's sister, and they're very famous multi-medalist.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Clarice is Shirley Fitzpatrick Wong's mother. So they're quite a family.
I finally had the chance to go back through my emails, and if Dave Burrows is right, then Clarice has won 19 gold medals since 1990 at the national level.
Yes, she certainly has won a heck of a lot.
That's impressive to win 19 medals in total, but 19 golds is quite the accomplishment.
Quite the accomplishment. But I think she probably runs second to Elaine Jones.
Yeah, I don't know what Elaine's track record would be.
No, I don't know what Elaine's tally is, and I'm not even sure that she knows, to be honest. But she certainly won a heck of a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
And still a mighty fine bowler, although not entered in the singles here this year.
She just got silver in the fours at Victoria at the majors.
Yes. And as usual, claimed she was lucky. She's one of the luckiest bowlers that I know, and I don't believe that, or I do believe in the harder you work, the more luck follows you, so perhaps there's something in that with her. It's a good start from John, about 18 inches behind the jack. He's had very good line so far, John.
Yeah, I'd say so. Grady's not too far away here, though. This could be a very close
No,
goal
this is a very good ball coming in here.
if he stops in time.
If it stops.
That still might be shot, maybe.
That hand, it's very difficult to pull them up once they cross the centre line.
Yep, they like to just keep on rolling. Looks like John switched on to the ditch hand side here now. Yeah, he's playing that straighter hand. And played it very well.
Very, very well.
Heck of a bowl there.
John and I have never had the privilege of playing on the one side. We seem to be always bowling against each other.
Ah, okay. Grady's opting to stick with the big swoop.
Yes, and he's just got to take a little bit more grass. John looks like he's having trouble making up his mind which hand to play. There was nothing wrong with the ball he just played, but
yeah, I would probably replicate that. Really, either hand is open, but when you just pull the beauty, just try to replicate it, I would think.
Yes, but he's gone the other hand, so...
Not a mile away, just a...
No, he's not a mile off, but just a little short. Which often happens when you change hands.
Yeah, sometimes that'll happen when you can't make up your mind which shot you want to play. You end up throwing quite short.
Yep. Something in between.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a good ball coming in here from Grady. He's going to reach the head. Or just taps John's shot ball.
Well, that opens things up for him for his last.
And I'd say probably John now might only hold one.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that. That's pretty close.
One of Jake's friends here again, the
Yeah, the
friendly little wasp.
He got me yesterday, so I'll be looking for revenge today.
You're not the only one. John Bjornsson got nipped this morning, and he said fortunately not on his bowling hand.
During our match yesterday in the afternoon, Elizabeth Jones got nipped during the game, but then afterwards she came over and pulled up her sleeve, and she said that was the 4th time she got stung since being here, so she had 4 band-aids on her arms. So
Wow.
John and I were joking we're going to have to make sure she gets a 10-point advantage before every game. 4 bee stings on your arm isn't going to help you much.
That's not going to help too much at all.
So next door, Derek Dillon's up 4-2 over Ray Noble, playing their 6th. Looking around, looks like Kevin Dusablon is tied 2-2.
With Brian Coleman.
Brian Coleman, yeah. Terry O'Neill is up 3-1 over Everett Zwires. Bob Van Wellingham up 4-2 over John McDonald. Can't see a whole lot of other scoreboards right now.
I can't see the names on rink 2, but it's 3-all
Yeah,
after 4.
it's between Michael Leong and Robbie Law. So all I can see is the L, because they have the initials up, so I don't know who's on top and who's on bottom, as both last names start with L. They're playing their 5th end.
I have the little stand for the bird cage right in my hand, right in my eyesight there, so...
Grady just missed on his way through there.
Yes, the Norwood Club has the nesting box, I think, for the purple martins to keep the mosquitoes down, but
Oh, yes.
I haven't seen mosquitoes this year, nor the birds, so...
Keeping everybody away.
Yeah. John taking one out.
I think Grady says that's all there is, but John's probably going to want to measure that, I think, yeah.
Interesting, he's measuring what appears to be his furthest one away from this position.
I would have thought that he'd go to Grady's closest and then go from there. But,
Yes.
apparently not.
But he says just one. As Derek and Ray are rollicking along in the 7th end, and we're just about to start our 5th.
Can't quite make out the score between Nick Jones and Keenan Lau. There we go. Keenan's up 4-0 over Nick Jones. Grady's got a wasp that's following him over there. He's swatting away.
Having a go at it. They're unfortunately very prevalent here this year.
Mm-hmm. The worst part is that they're wasps, so they can sting you multiple times, whereas if it's a bee, then once it stings you once, it's done, right?
Yeah, he's finished.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these wasps are a little bit seriouser. And it is, if you have been stung by one, you will know that they're pretty serious little nippers.
Yeah, yes they are. You certainly notice when they get you.
Oh yeah. Fortunately, we don't seem to have anybody that's very allergic to them.
That's good news. I know a whole lot of measures that have been taken to try to keep them away. As looking around, I see a couple of fake bee nests and whatnot to try to persuade them to go live elsewhere.
Yes. None of which have been highly successful.
Well, they found themselves a new home yesterday when I was hopping up onto the scaffolding.
Ah,
10 of them circling around. I always thought it was the rabbit's foot that was supposed to be lucky, but I found a different body part when I got up there.
yes, that must have been very interesting for you, Jake.
Yeah, it definitely gave me a bit of a shock. Bringing the camera up the scaffolding and see a rabbit's head just sitting there waiting for me with 10 little wasps all living inside. Surprise.
You did the right thing and called John, and you didn't disappear yourself, though. I think I would have.
Well, I thought about leaving it there, but then I thought, I've got the rest of the week here. That's going to be there all week unless I get rid of it. So.
Yeah.
One of the... looks like that bee is really...
It's really annoying,
getting after
Grady, yeah. Yeah, there's still one hanging around him. John's gone over to assist and try and get it to go away.
And I don't think it did. It's still circling around his
Yeah,
head.
it's still circling around him.
It's just really hard after Grady.
Yeah, it likes him, I think.
I think it's finally left him alone.
He finally got the message.
Yeah.
Grady on the wide hand.
Pretty good bull, given that he just spent 5
Yes,
minutes swatting a wasp, and that could be shot itself.
My word, and I think he might have two up there at this stage by the looks.
Pretty impressive to be distracted there for 5 minutes and then to just walk up and roll it close.
Yes, pretty good effort. I'm sure the old heart rate might have been up while that wasp was circling him. John playing with a little bit of weight down here, but I don't think it's going to bend in time, no.
I've seen an awful lot of jack measures here this week. Seems a lot of people are throwing relatively short ends and getting umpires out to measure them.
Yes, it seems to be an abnormally high number of jack measures. I think they had quite a few this morning as well. Keep the umpires fit. Give them something to do, they don't get into mischief.
Yeah, that's right. Use them while they're here.
Yes, absolutely. We're very fortunate here. We've had a terrific number of volunteers, I think about 80 all up, and this is why both Jake and myself are having trouble reading the scoreboards at times, because we seem to have flippers at each end and markers.
Yeah. Greatly appreciated that they're willing to come out and mark or flip or whatever it is they're doing. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely, and our markers went to school with Elaine and Jerome taking the course. It's funny how some people are a little bit reluctant to take on the marking because of the calibre of players that they'll be marking for, and when they realise they've got the best seat in the house, they pretty quickly accept.
Yeah, that's right. You can't get much closer to the action than being on the green itself.
No, you're right there. And a lot to learn as a marker, because some of them are fairly new players themselves, and they learn a lot from these players.
Oh, that's a brilliant ball there from John.
Oh yes, and he's handling that narrow side very well.
I've seen a couple of people now who just like to play the narrow hand and figure it out.
Grady sticking with the wide side, but he's left this one well short.
That might get in John's eye, though.
It could well do.
Might also just be a guideline. You just have to come inside that and you're fine.
Yes, it's not taking that much grass that side.
Yeah, I don't think it's in his way at all. He's just going to play inside it and he'll be okay.
As he's coming down inside it now.
I think he's up the weight a bit, though.
Yeah, another yard or so, 4 foot, perhaps extra weight. He's in a nice little receiving spot there. Could be an interesting bowl here coming in.
It's a nice adjustment from Grady there. That'll probably be one.
Oh, beautiful bowl.
Beauty shot.
Lovely bowl. Picked it up and sat with it. So John's receiver is no more.
But I think he might still be... No, he is switching hands. For a second I thought he was still going to stick with the straight hand, and I thought that might be a tall order.
Absolutely. I don't think coming under that short bowl now is an option. He may be a little bit short, is he?
Yeah, pretty close to jack high, just quite narrow.
More weight than I thought, but just not quite enough grass when you're changing hands here. As you may hear, the wind has got up a little bit, and it's blowing on the wide side, so that's helping push the bowls in a little more. Another great bowl from Grady.
Yeah, John's going to go down and take a look at that. That's a really nice setup there for Grady. John's in a bit of trouble here with this last one. He's down 2 for sure.
2 for sure. Maybe a look for third.
Do you think he'll throw much weight? Does John normally throw?
Not as a rule, he doesn't throw much weight, but he may play a yard or two on that and hope that the jack will nip out to the side.
That is an option if he played on that straight hand and tried to pinch the jack out to the side to kill it. I believe he's closest to the tee, so if he does kill it, he'd count 1.
Yes, he would have to, I would think, come up with weight on that narrow side.
I don't think you can really draw that off, but we'll see what he does here.
Yes, he will have formulated a plan. Yes, he's going to be here. He's played the narrow side. He's played it with a little bit of weight. Or caught the short ball.
Just out too wide. Needed to be well inside that. So this will be at least a couple for Grady to stretch that lead out a little more.
Yes, without this end, he's 1 in front, 4-3.
Looking around, I can see Derek Dillon's up 6-3 over Ray Noble after 8. They're playing the last end of their first set already, holy smokes. Beside them, Keenan Lau is up 5-2 over Nick Jones after 6. Kevin Dusablon is up 6-3 over Brian Coleman after 7. John Bjornsson is currently trailing Brandon Watson 7-2 after 6. John McDonald trails Bob Van Wallingham 9-5 after 8. Everett Zwires is up 5-3 over Terry O'Neill after 5. And Robbie Law and Michael Leong are all tied up at 4 after 6.
There's a couple of close-ish games. It might be interesting in the final analysis. John Bjornsson trailing there. He's in a very, very tough group.
Yeah, that is a tough group to be in.
He needs one more win to be sure of going through to the next round.
I think I like that setup a lot, where you just have to win more than 50% of your games, because you know as soon as you win number whatever that you're through, and you don't have to worry about finishing 1 or 2 or anything like that. You just have to make sure you win 4 games and you're good to go.
Yeah, I like that idea too. It's gives them a chance.
I think I might want to make it more than 50% though. I think to advance to the next round, I wouldn't mind seeing that up a little higher, maybe 60%. Maybe you have to go 5 and 2 rather than 4 and 3.
Yeah.
4 and 3 is only 1 game better than 500. You're not really proven that you're top class yet. 5 and 2, you've demonstrated that
you're up there. Yes.
Up there.
The only trouble in one of the groups, they might all struggle to get 5.
That's true. Yeah, there might not be anybody in the group that gets 5. That's very true. And then that's kind of tough, because you're penalizing a tough group. You could have all the best players in the group, and then nobody makes it out because they all beat up on each other.
Yes. And I think there's been a fair bit of that happening. Good ball here.
Yeah, looks like John's putting a couple of good ones together.
He's got a couple there. That's the danger with John. If you do have a little bit of a loose head, he's pounced on it and all over you. That's a good recovery from Grady.
That's a good recovery ball there. Very deliberate about where he puts his fingers on the ball.
Yes. Everything he does is very considered.
Stick into this narrow hand.
Well, John also bowling with narrower bowls, which makes it a little bit more. He's drawn another pretty good bowl.
That might be shot itself. Grady's last bowl here is going to be looking to draw it off. He's playing the swoopy hand here again.
He might have a little bit of weight on this. Certainly reaching. Oh, what a
bowl!
What a bowl! May or may not have cut John back. So the marker put some chalk on his bowl, so he must have got a nip. We couldn't tell from this angle.
Just a clip. So Derek Dillon won the first set next door 6-4. And they're playing the first end of their second set.
That looks pretty much the only one that has completed the first set.
Yeah. Everybody else is still playing 6, 7, 8, or 9. See what John can do with his last bowl of the end.
Again on the narrow side, despite that bowl there. Looks like he's coming down there. Oh, lovely ball into the nest of his own.
Into the nest. I wouldn't be surprised if he was actually looking for the jack to bring that back. Maybe chip it back sideways. Chip it back to the right. Could have had 3 out of that.
Yes, he still may have. It's difficult to say from this angle.
Yeah, I can't really see. Grady picked it up right away though, so they clearly agreed on whatever it was.
It will be interesting. That's the scoreboard attendant is.
Really? So that was one for Grady?
Really odd.
Did not see that.
Did not see that at all. No, it must have been that last bowl where he did nip the jack, although he finished a foot or so wide.
So they've played 7, so this is number 8, so it's a 4-point spread here. John's going to be looking to count to give himself a chance, and Grady just needs to count 1 to put this set out of reach. It's a comfortable spot to be in, to know you're up 4 with 2 to go, that you just need to count this end and you win the set.
Yes, one would do it, and it does take a lot of the pressure off.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good start from Grady too.
What a bowl.
What a lovely bowl.
He wants that point.
See, he says if you want a tie break, John, you're going to have to win the next one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a couple of people that played John, and they felt he was a little bit unfortunate in a couple of games.
Yeah, sometimes you need to get a few bounces to go your way to secure a victory.
I believe he beat Kevin Dusselbaum, and Kevin was saying he bowled pretty well in that game. He well earned it.
So Grady's going for some position here now that he's got 1 locked on, looking to get back.
Yeah.
And
it just hangs on.
Just hanging on. So I can see, since that bowl is so close to us, that Grady's playing with the Taylor Ace. Based off the color scheme, I believe that John's also playing with the Taylor model.
Yes, I couldn't tell you what John's bowling with here, but I know I've chased them a lot. It's Grady coming down again. He's just come up a bit short there. And a fairly good line from that wide side.
Well, I can tell you now what John Barron's playing with. He's using Taylor Blaze.
Taylor Blaze.
It's one of their newer models.
And he's handling them pretty well, but just not quite getting the result. So there he's run about 6 foot through.
So John was a Motor Coach Industries employee, which was bus manufacturing, retired back in 2003.
Yes, and with his wife and sister-in-law has spent a lot of time on the bowling greens.
He's been playing for 11 years. So he's got more than double what Grady has. Grady's only been playing for 5.
Yes, he's experienced, John. He's been to nationals and that before. But I don't think at this stage he would chalk this down as one of his better tournaments. Certainly not for results, but as I said earlier, he has been bowling pretty well. His opponents have admitted it, that he hasn't had a lot of luck.
Right. Favorite vacation spot for John is Jasper Banff area. That's out in Alberta, I believe.
Yes, and a very nice area too. Good bowl from John, just a little bit heavy.
So that'll be 1 for Grady there to secure this set then. So John won the senior silver medal with John Bjornsson and Leo Dusselbaum when it was in Peterborough before this year. So I think Peterborough hosted that in maybe 2013.
I think it was something like that,
Something like
yes.
that.
They were back in the days when I don't think I was old enough to play in the seniors. I was fortunate enough to go to Peterborough this year to play in the seniors, and had a wonderful time, and the greens were really good, and the committee couldn't do enough to keep the athletes happy, so it was a terrific time.
Mm-hmm.
As are most of the nationals.
Yeah. Big thanks to Jeff and the crew out at Peterborough for putting on a great show. I know Andy spent a lot of time making those bowls, or those greens, run well.
Yes, and you could see the results. They did run well. And Andy had the pleasure of playing for Alberta for most of that game.
Mm-hmm. So to give an official title to Grady for his involvement with bowling, he's actually the executive director for the Bowling Proprietors Association of Alberta.
Oh,
So I guess that means he knows a thing or two.
yeah, I would say so. Very impressive title.
Yeah.
Just a little heavy with that first bowl, a little wide perhaps, John. Also, on the other hand, a little wide and heavy.
Quick. Yeah, I guess once that mat gets brought up, it's confused both players here.
Yes. You've watched more games on this rink than me, Jake. You should have
Pretty good understanding.
a little understanding of it.
Well, there are a few rinks that I can say I'm very proficient at without ever rolling a bowl on them, and that would be Rink 1 at the Dartmouth Lawn Bowls Club, where I watched all week there, and then A8 and A1 at the Wanda Fuca Club, where we streamed all week for the majors, and then this rink here, and number 1 going the other way.
Yes, you've certainly seen plenty of bowls on them.
I can't say I've ever watched so much bowling in my life as I have the past month and a bit.
And it's not a bad pastime watching neither.
No.
As much as we enjoy playing as John trails the jack back towards his first bowl.
Beautiful bowl there from John.
No, I quite enjoy watching a good game.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes I think I'd be better off watching all the time, and then I start getting a little bit keen on getting out and putting down a couple of bowls. So.
Yeah, after you start watching for a little while, you start to get that itch to get back out and get rolling a few.
Yeah, the competitive juices start to well up a little, and you want to get in amongst it.
Any guesses on where Grady likes to head down for holidays?
Looking at Grady, I'd say perhaps somewhere in around Phoenix, maybe, or even Mexico.
Well, you're getting closer there with Mexico. It's actually Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Although I'm not sure if you'd want to be down there right about now with all those hurricanes coming.
No.
Tropical storms.
It's pretty bad, that storm, by the looks of it. They've had some good ones to follow up that Houston effort.
Mm-hmm.
I think the weather has gone a little crazy around the world. Even my hometown, which is Port Fairy in Victoria, Australia, sea level had snow the other day. So
Really?
yes, it was most unusual. I see on the Facebook quite a few pictures of it.
So that's very unusual.
I can never recall it in my time there. So.
Grady was actually the manager for Team Alberta this year at the majors and managed their way to a 2017 Cy English Award, which is the big trophy that all the teams are aiming for. There's the Cy English for the men and the Lady Alexander for the women, given to the best men's and women's overall teams.
They would be cock-a-hoop over there, I'm sure, in Alberta with that.
Mm-hmm. So Grady picks up the first set. And he did pick up one there, so 9-3 was the final score for that first set.
Yes, and I look next door, and Derek Dillon has jumped out to a 7-0 lead after 3 ends in the second set.
Pretty good start. Won the first set and is off to a roaring start to start the second. Keaton Lau has won the first set 6-4 over Nicholas Jones. Brandon Watson won the first set over John Bjornsson. Terry O'Neill and Everett Dwyers are all tied up at 6 going into the last end of their first set. Not sure if that's Robbie Law or Michael Leong, but someone is up 6-4 in that game.
I'll just try and... No, I can't stretch even far enough that way to see.
I think I might actually get up and run around just so I know who's on top and who's on bottom.
Alright. There's the first bowl. Right on the ditch. By Grady. A full length jack. Not near enough.
So Michael Leong is on top on that scoreboard and Robbie Law's on the bottom. So Robbie is up 6-5. Won the first set, 6-5 I guess.
Had a good start for Rob. He was a little disappointed with this first day, so, but...
And then Bob Van Wellingham won the first set over John McDonald and is currently up 2-0 in the second set. And that's all the scoreboards.
I think Bob might be my dark horse for the men, actually.
Yeah?
I just have a feeling that he's bowling very well at the moment, and he may well be in the final. Having said that, there's many others that could also be there.
Yeah, there are many that could be there. I don't know if anybody would really surprise me all that much.
Yes, I watched a bit of Bob's game yesterday afternoon on the synthetic, and which isn't his favourite surface nowadays, and he bowled extremely well.
Well, that's good. That's tough to do if it's not your favourite surface. You're going in already not liking it, but if you can overcome that and play well, then hats off to you. Grady's playing a lot of weight here. That's well into the ditch.
Yes, that's well in the ditch.
Resounding thud. I'm not sure if he was looking to get a bare jack to the ditch or not with that ball.
Well, he does have a bowl resting near the ditch.
Mm-hmm. Here's a good ball here from John, I think, if it stops.
Probably shot. Having said that, it rolled a long way.
Yeah, that just kept
further
on
than
going.
I thought it was going to.
Don't know, they're all pretty far away here so far still. Looks like they're struggling to find things when the jack is back at the tee, as it's just resting right in front of it.
Both players seem to be bowling on their on the wide side.
And all coming up narrow as well, so John's coming down to take a look at this to see, hey, what's going on down here?
Yes, it looks like from the bowls that there is quite a hill there, but there actually isn't. Just not taking enough grass.
Might be that they need to take actually a little bit of more grass as the mat is up and the jack is further back here. Might have changed a line or two.
I'd say it has perhaps changed the line by the fact that the bowls are a good metre or more narrow side.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just enough to change the line by an inch, and that'll make all the difference in the world.
Yes. John looks like he has enough grass at this stage, but he's running a bit.
Yeah, he's well through. If he would have had a better weight, that would have been shot. But
Yes.
back, just
hang on.
Don't think that'll matter though, as I would assume it's coming down to those two balls there by Grady.
Yes. It's going to be a long measure.
Yeah, yes it will. I'll have to get out the garden hose.
Very close. No, I think that was a bit optimistic, John.
Just a bit.
Looks like Grady may have won the measure.
Yeah, I guess he did. So that'll be on to Grady to start this second set.
Again throwing the long jack.
Which is interesting because coming this way, nobody really got particularly close to it. But I guess that might have been what he was aiming for. If,
Yes, nobody gets close. Maybe he'll only go down one.
Yeah, yeah.
Or win by one. It's a good start, a little bit short.
A little bit short, but that's a much better start than what we saw last end.
Yes, absolutely. John's trying to bowl here and Derek Dillon's jumping up and down on the next rink. John's got a better line, but he's pushed it a little hard.
And
I think that one may have come from the other rink, perhaps with a manufacturing error. Or the wrong bias, whichever the
whichever
bowler prefers. There's a good bowl coming in again.
There.
Well, still a bit short.
So normally tradition has, at least as far as I'm told, that the winner buys the loser a drink, but I'm also told if you throw a wrong bias, then you buy everybody around as well. So which trumps which in the case next door? If the losing side happens to throw a wrong bias, because the winner should buy you a drink, but if you throw a wrong bias, you're supposed to buy him a drink.
2 drinks, easy. Yeah, that one's easy fixed, mate.
Yeah, the social aspect of bowls is always around. Doesn't necessarily have to be any sort of a special drink. I know a lot of people that'll just come in after game and just want a Gatorade or some other sort of drink to keep them going for the next round. But there's sort of a decent social atmosphere to it to sit down and have a chat with your opponent afterwards.
Yes, it was big in Australia, and after pennant in particular, you would come in and have a drink, whether it be a cup of tea, coffee, or
something stronger.
Something stronger. But it was tradition that we almost always went and had a drink with our opponents after the game.
Mm-hmm.
John going down chasing Grady's ball actually to have a look at this head, which it looks a little bit raggy. Having said that, Grady draws the jack. I don't know if a good friend of mine in Australia who introduced me to this game happens to be listening, but Kev Watson, I know you've had a bit of a hard time lately with things, and I wish you all the best from the Norwood Bowling Club here in Winnipeg. And John's back now.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see how many people from all over the world end up tuning in. As when I was doing the juniors, we had a few folks from South Africa watching, which was nice to see. We can get a bit of a global reach.
It's great that they're interested in Canadian lawn bowls. I find most bowlers the world over are interested how things are going in other countries. Keeping an eye on the progress of the game and some of their friends that may be playing that they've run into.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, bowls is kind of unique in the sense that you can have friends from all over the world, all over the country, all over anywhere, really.
Yes.
Not sure if how many other sports allow that to happen.
Well, there seems to be a reciprocal rights with clubs around the world. You just drop in and usually have a bowl thrust in your hand and told to get out on the green. We're short.
Yeah, funny how that happens. Almost every club you go to, they're always looking to get you out on the green right away.
Yes, looking for an extra player here and there. Grady picked up a couple that time.
That's that'll make it.
Leading 3-0 after 2 ends. Derek Dillon looks like he has this next second set in hand at 15-0 after 6 ends.
Yeah, I guess that's actually mathematically impossible there for you to catch up.
Yes.
So John's stepping paces out here to see if this is actually a legal jack, because this is quite short. I think he might be calling for an umpire.
Yes, they're having a bit of a...
And Emily was watching the whole time and is quick out here.
Yeah.
John didn't even shout it loud enough for anybody to hear, but Emily's already on her way over.
Yeah, she's pretty quick to grab things, Emily, the head umpire for Manitoba.
Depending on where the actual number is, I think this is going to be good. Yeah, this is...
Yeah, it's good by a few inches.
5 or 6 inches there, yeah. Lots of space.
It's interesting now that Grady should throw a short end after 2 longer ends.
Looking to change things up, maybe looking to figure out some green speed for later on. Get his draw weight down at every length.
I think both the players were having trouble at full length, both fairly raggy heads, the 2 longer ones, and this is a much better start.
Yeah, this is a much better start there from Grady. John will be playing the narrow hand.
He's persisted with the narrow hand quite a bit through this game.
Really shows the type of bowlers here, as it seems that almost every game someone likes the swoop hand and someone likes the narrow hand, and I don't think I'll ever understand why people like a narrow hand.
Well, sometimes you have to change onto it just to
Yeah.
find your line. I find sometimes I have a line in my head and I can't get it out, and it's not getting me to the jack, so I'll change hands just for one bowl to change the perspective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not exactly out of the coaching manual, but it works for me. It's a good bowl coming in here from John. And probably may well be shot.
I went to one sort of a development camp, I guess, when I was just starting out in bowls, and Bill Betger was running it. Pretty historic Canadian bowler, won several international medals, I believe, but regardless, he was running this, and his little tidbit of advice was, if you're really struggling in a game, to close your eyes the next time you roll your bowl. And
Interesting.
Sort of reset you, and you'd be surprised how good you can roll a bowl when your eyes are shut. You start sort of have a natural feel for where things are going.
It's very interesting. We have a player, Glenn Taylor, here, who has a little difficulty seeing.
But he can really put them down while he's an excellent bowler.
My word, and he looks like he may well progress through this. I think he'd won at least 3 games.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it through to the knockout rounds, for sure. I know he went 2-0 on the first day, so that's
a very good start.
That's an excellent start, yeah.
You can't do much better than that, I'm sure. John was a bit wider with that bowl. He missed his mark.
It's not so forgiving on that tight hand if you do miss your mark.
No, it's not forgiving at all, especially if you miss on the wide side. There's a good position bowl from Grady, but I'm not sure that he has shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm inclined to favour John's bowl there for one.
There's the last bowl coming up, which says John's.
Mm-hmm.
A little movement of the jack could give him 3.
Yeah, just needs to touch it not more than 2 inches. It can be a very difficult shot to make. You have to be very precise.
Oh, especially on that side. There's but he has been handling this narrow side very well.
Mm-hmm.
He's well down to it, but is he?
I think he's a little quick.
Just a little quick.
Yeah. Just a shade too much. Good effort, though.
Yes, he finished pretty well on line, so...
Just needed to take off a good 4 feet or so. I think Grady is quick to concede 1 there as he's kicking them in. Unless he took 1, I'm not sure.
It's debatable. He's hanging on to the jack as he kicks the bowls.
And John's coming back to go get some water, I think.
Yes, it's probably getting warm out there. There were a few started in jackets this morning in the first game, but they were soon peeling them off.
Big thanks to our partners and sponsors, the Government of Canada through Sport Canada, the Coaching Association of Canada, Kukri, our official clothing supplier, and lawnbowlingmanager.com.
A very difficult game without sponsors these days.
Mm-hmm.
We need them desperately.
So I think that was one for John there.
Looks like John picked up the one. So still anybody's game in the second set. 3-1 to Grady after 3 ends.
Yeah. Next door, Derek Dillon is finishing off their game there as he's having his way with Ray Noble there, 19 zip right now. Keenan Lau is up 8-3 over Nicholas Jones. Kevin Dusablon is up 7-4 over Brian Coleman. John Bjornsson up 4-1 over Brandon Watson. Can't quite see
Terry O'Neill.
Terry O'Neill. No, Everett Swire is up 5-0 over Terry.
5-0, yeah, after 2 ends in the second set after Everett took the first. There. The next one's yours, Jake. I can't see for that bird box again.
That's Robbie Law is up 4-1 over Michael Leon. Robbie took the first set as well, so they're playing their fourth end, I believe, of that second set. And Bob Van Willingham up 7-3 over John McDonald after 6 in their second set as well.
That's a great start from John, just behind the jack. Great, he's picked the line very nicely on that and may well have shot with that ball.
Much better start to an end here from these two.
Yes, we're unfortunate that the wind has got up again. I believe it's going to be stronger tomorrow, so feel a little bit sorry for the boys on the synthetic tomorrow.
Yep. Good luck over there. Might be a little difficult to manage with strong blustery winds.
It's a pretty decent bowl coming in here. A little bit short. John was well short with his second, so I'll see if he adjusts. Playing the wider hand.
Just through. He needed a little more grass on that. His weight was probably in the area.
Yes, his weight was a lot better. Grady's on the narrow hand now too. And down to his own bowl and nestles in there.
Nestled it out. If you do have any questions, feel free to send us an email. office@bullscanada.com. I'm sure we'll be getting lots of complaints about quality of the streaming, but apologies in advance. There's not a whole lot we can do about that at the moment.
And probably get asked for a translator for me, Joe. It's rather strange. My kids back in Australia think that I now speak proper Canadian. When one of my daughters the other day said, "I can hardly understand you," I was considerably perturbed. Oh, Grady's taken out his closest bowl with that one, just a little overweight.
I think it'll be one for John there still. Yeah, it's funny how quickly you can pick up an accent or change your accent, I suppose, if you go and live in a different country for a little while.
Some people are more apt at picking that up, but I remember when my daughter and my son were over here a couple of 3 years ago. My daughter actually picked up the accent very quickly. My son never picked it up at all.
Ah, okay.
Derek Dillon just reminding me to say g'day to all the Australians that are listening. Send an email to Jake. He'll give you the address. And 3-3 now in this.
Yeah, I guess John
game.
picked up 2 there. I thought he only had 1. So Derek Dillon did finish that set quite handily, 20 zip over Ray Noble to claim that game in straight sets. Keenan Lau is up 11-3 over Dick Jones. Kevin Dussablon is up 8-4 over Brian Coleman. John Bjornsson up 5-1 over Brandon Watson. Everett Wires 5-1 over Terry O'Neill. Rob Law 4-3 over Michael Leong. And Bob Van Willingham 7-3 over John McDonald. Beautiful bowl there from Grady Long. As
Yes, he's bowled very, very well.
I think that John is still going to be sticking with the straight hand here. Yep.
Yes, he'll stick with straight as long as he can feasibly stay there. Just a little short again, a couple of feet. It would have been interesting if he had a yard more weight on that. He may have picked up the bowl of the jack.
Grady's looking
Grady again, a beautiful bowl. He seems now to have that line down
beautiful
very
balls.
well. He's putting a lot of pressure on John here.
Definitely can't be short with this one. And I don't know if that'll be enough to make much of a change.
No, I think he had a little more weight on it, but he lost a little line.
I wouldn't be surprised if Grady's looking to get some position here, as he's still playing the swoop hand. There is a port he can come through, but given that he's got 2 locked on, I would expect he's going back to the tee.
Yes, it looks like he has decided to cover the 6-foot mark. For all us oldies, 2 metres for you younger people.
And I don't.
He left it a little bit shorter, but it's out of play, is it? They're having a umpire having a look now. Yes, called it out.
Interesting decision there, though, because Grady called it out right away, but the umpire came racing over to take a look. But if you're declaring your own bull dead, I think you're allowed to take it off whenever if you don't want it on.
Yes, John's come back, but it's his 4th ball, so he must think Grady's going to disturb it.
Yeah, I think he probably just got a little wide there, as he was probably looking to disrupt it.
Yeah.
I don't know if Grady realizes this is his last bowl.
Yes, he's coming around nicely.
I thought that was flying out of his hand. I thought that was.
I did too, Jake. And look, it
could be 3rd shot.
Yeah, and come back perfectly on line. So give you an idea how far that's coming in on that hand.
Mm-hmm. Very nice draw if he can figure it out on that
yes.
hand.
He's got 3 bowls there on exactly the same line.
Not sure if they said 2 or 3 on that, but they're kicking them in.
Yeah. Well, we'll know in a moment as it's 3-3. So,
it'll be at least 5-3 for Grady after this, maybe even 6.
Yes.
So that was
6, so it was a 3.
I just got a text from the girl back home saying it's raining like crazy back in Ottawa right now, and right here it's sunny skies, so I'm very happy to be in Winnipeg, Manitoba right now.
And of course, we're very happy to have you here, Jake.
Here at the Norwood Lawn Bowling Club. Come down to 1212 Dakota. You'll see some excellent bowling for the rest of the week. Here until Saturday afternoons when the medal matches are, I believe.
I believe so, and there should be whoever is in it, some really good games.
Mm-hmm. That's a great bowl there from John.
Yes, has locked that on.
He even got a toucher out of it.
He's never beaten, John. He'll fight till the last bowl.
Mm-hmm. So this is actually end number 6 that they're playing right now.
I don't know whether the scorekeeper is keeping up with John Bjornsson and Brandon Watson, but they've only played 4 ends, according to the scoreboard.
Might have had a few measures, maybe. They're in the process of having a measure right now on their rinks.
Yes.
Things must be close over there.
Be fairly tight. John losing the first set, he'll be pretty determined to take this to a tiebreak, I'm sure. Already gone back to the 6 foot mark.
Yeah, let's get back there.
Must be thinking.
I would fully expect that John is probably going to need to get some insurance back there as well.
Yes, there's a couple of bowls back there that need covering.
He's playing up into the head here.
Oh, touched his own shot bowl.
Touched it on the way by.
Yes, I think he would have been happier if it had been the other side of that bowl.
Mm-hmm.
However, he has got one behind, but if Grady hits that, I suppose it depends where the Jack's position behind the bowl, where it will go. I'm not sure that he has played with the weight to move it.
He's not playing much more than a draw here. I guess he was looking to
Yeah.
see if he could try to draw it off, maybe.
Yep, pretty much online too.
You see how much that finishes there, though. I guess that is actually very possible to draw off.
Oh, it would be, I think, Jake, the way it's turning.
By no means easy, though.
No, I find most shots difficult. This one probably more difficult than others. But John certainly got a good deal of room to add to his shot bowl there.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's looking to count 2 here rather than just the 1.
This would be nice for him to get a couple back after dropping the 3.
I think
Was he
he's
going to
crashing.
miss his own? No, he crashed, but may still possibly be in the count.
Not sure if that's going to be enough for second shot or not.
Be disappointed if it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's his own bowl he wrecked on.
Well, it serves you right for having short bowls, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're
having
gonna
a
get
measure
down
for
measures
2.
again. Yeah.
It's a bit of the Vince Scaletta there. Never die wondering. Always pull the measure. I've got a feeling John might have picked up the second there.
Maybe. Let's see what the flipper gives us.
Yes, it was 2 to John.
Great, yeah. So this is number 7 they'll be starting, so 3 ends to go, 1 point game.
It's a very tight game. Ebbs and flows a little bit. Grady got ahead a bit and John's coming back.
When I was in Australia, we played a sort of a jitney, I guess you'd call it, a little fun game at the club on a Thursday morning. Me and my partner joined in and played, I think it was a 25 end game maybe, something like that, and that's longer than any game I've ever played in Canada before, I believe, for a pairs match. And it was really interesting to see how the ebbs and flows went of that game, because someone might win the first 6 ends, but then the next 6 it was to the other team, and it just sort of ebbed and flowed throughout the whole game, which was interesting to see.
It makes an interesting game of it when you're doing that. Of course, in Australia, there's quite long games,
Mm-hmm.
and especially the pennant matches, which is 25 ends.
Yep.
It's made for a very long Saturday afternoon sometimes in the heat.
Yes, it can. I think it might have been Pennant that I was watching when I was down there, and they had a master scoreboard of all the rinks across, so on the master scoreboard, I would not want to be the scorer for that, but he had the scoreboard saying, 176 to 169. Just thinking, holy smokes, that's good luck keeping up with all those numbers.
Yes, that was the second's job, especially if you were the last rink out on the green, to have an accurate tab on that for the skipper, because if it was close, it depended. There's a good bowl.
Great shot there from John.
Yeah, if it was a close game overall, you had to know whether you were 1, 2 or 3 up or down or what you needed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great bowl from Ray, but just a little narrow.
Just a little
Grady, sorry. I was looking at the board next door, thinking of Ray Noble. And John's got a couple here, drawing a third perhaps.
Yeah, I think he's close.
Oh
Got
yes,
the
lovely
jack.
bowl. Just trails the jack back behind that back bowl of his.
So still lying 2, but
A lot more comfortable too.
after counting the last inning, now counting here at the moment, it kind of feels like maybe the momentum's changing here a little bit. Tide might be turning in John's favour.
Yes, it could be, but Ray's right here with this, and
Grady's
well again,
just
hey,
inside.
Ray, I've got that in my head, mate. Take the score down next door, please. Grady, just narrow again. So I know I've spoken a few times about pennant here, and a few of the guys have asked me what was the favourite part of playing pennant in Australia, and it was without a doubt after the 12th or 13th end when we went in for sandwiches. Yes, always loved that break for a cup of tea, coffee or sandwiches.
I had the pleasure of experiencing that when I was in Hong Kong a few years back. They had a mid-game break as well after, I don't know, probably the 8th end. They call everybody off and go and have tea and trumpets and whatnot and just have a little tea break and then get back out and finish the game.
Yes, it was marvellous how the games could change after that little break too.
Yeah.
John possibly drawn a third shot there. It's come up 4 foot or so short.
This is Grady's last bowl here, so he's definitely going to want to make sure he's close to at least try to cut it down to 1 or maybe draw it off.
He's playing the swingy hand again, which he had played fairly well, but this end he's struggled with it, and he's struggling with this bowl too.
Going up short and a little inside.
Yes, well, he certainly cut that fourth one of John's out.
Yeah.
But, I think it might be a measure for 3.
Yeah, very well could be.
Yes, I played pennant in the country, Jake, and would often have to travel 2 hours to a game and 2 hours back. There was quite some distances.
And people are okay with that.
There were no problems at all. In fact, if you were a selector, you'd often get into trouble for not picking somebody to go and play that far away.
So teams were selected by selectors in the club?
Yes, it was always, and it was always the selector's fault.
There's a job I would not want to have, being a selector.
No, I spent a little bit of time doing it, and I think we all had our little turns at the clubs, especially the smaller clubs, where everybody had to, well, let's do something to keep the place ticking over.
Mm-hmm. So looking around, Keenan Lau's up 15-4 over Nicholas Jones, so he's about to win that game in straight sets. John Bjornsson's up 5-3 over Brandon Watson after 6. Everett Swires up 7-2 over Terry O'Neill. Bob Van Wellingham won his game in straight sets over John McDonald. And I believe Rob Law is up 5-4 over Michael Leong right now.
I'm not sure with the what's happened there. I can't see with Brian Coleman and Kevin Dusselbaum.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. They have they left the 1 up next to Kevin Dusselbaum's name because he won the first set, but there's no score and they didn't signify. So I'm guessing that Kevin Dusselbaum won that in straight sets.
It appears that he may well have done. I can't see either of the guys around as well. So that would be Brian's first loss. He's already qualified for the next round.
Now it's just a matter of positioning where you're going to end up, whether you're going to be first or 5th or whatnot going into the knockouts. And the one thing I like about this too is that you don't know where everybody else is going to end up, so there's...
It's very random at the moment.
I know in some events some teams will figure, oh, this team is going to finish up in 9th, so I want to be first so I can play them, or
Yes.
I don't want to finish first because I don't want to play them or whatnot. But right now you have no clue who you're going to play or who's going to end up where, so there's no benefit to finishing
in any specific place, but it's funny how some guys seem to have the wood on you when you're playing. I always think of Nate Jacobucci seems to have the wood on John Bjornsson, and
just
even in team games, it's always a couple of years ago, John was playing in the triples, and Nate had the last bowl and had to draw it within about 2 inches to win the match, and he failed by not touching the jack, but he was about 1/4 of an inch from it. John was very upset. Again at Tuxedo, he hated meeting Nate there. Grady's sitting one on the jack here.
I'm starting to doubt myself there looking at rink 2 about which player is on top, because I see Robbie Law through the jack and is all over it with his first bowl, but it's all tied up at 5 right now, so I'm going to go and double check, make sure that it's his name on top.
Yeah, right. Jake's gone for a little bit of a wander. John's gone for a little bit of a wander down to the head to just check out how far behind I guess Grady's bowl is.
So assuming the scoreboard's accurate, I was right, and it's Michael Leong's name on top and Robbie Law on the bottom, so Robbie won the first set. And they're all tied up at 5, going into the second. Playing number 8 in that game.
It's a very tight match, that one.
Everett Swires is up 9-2 over Terry O'Neill after 6.
Very tight between John Bjornsson too and Brandon Watson 5-4 to John after 7.
And yeah, Kevin Dusalon did win. That the umpire just fixed the scoreboard saying that Kevin Brian Coleman in straight sets.
I was talking to Kevin this morning and he was hoping to have a good day today. He's not qualified yet to go on, and he thought today might be the day he'd perhaps win 1 or 2 and put himself in that position.
Mm.
He seemed relatively confident, but Kevin always is.
Yeah, it's good to have a little bit of confidence about you.
Yes, yeah. I'd say if he won that one as handsomely as appears, he would have a little swagger up at the moment. Good to see Vince Galetta out on the green marking.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of our veteran bowlers, many times to nationals.
Is he on rink 4 right now?
Rink 4, yes.
Yeah.
An old teammate of mine, played 3rd with Morris.
So as we're starting this last end here of the set, we're all tied up at 7, so Grady needs to count to secure the win, and John needs to count to force a tiebreak.
So Grady has thrown the jack, another longish jack, not full length.
No, not full length, but still longer than not. He also has the mat way up though, so this is actually going to be a medium length-ish jack.
Yeah, probably medium, as you say, and I'm not sure whether we've played to this sort of length in this game, so not that I can recall.
This might be a new length here, which is an interesting choice to do that on the very last end of the second set.
And very wide again from Grady.
I think that might almost
on
be
the
out of
wide
bounds.
side. John seems happy that it's in play. A little heavy, but will be shot for the time being, and that's all he needs to do.
Shot for now.
No, the marker has taken that ball off the green of Grady's first. It must have been too wide.
There is a point of no return out there, so that's a little deceiving.
Yes, especially when it's so swingy.
Yeah. This looks like a better adjustment from Grady though. He's a little
Yes.
inside, but that's still good enough for shot.
Jack high.
Great weight.
It gives John a chance, a good look at it coming on the narrow side. Bob Van Willingham has won his match against John Mack.
Mm. Just inside and still a little quick. I think he actually added a couple feet to his last one there. Pressure end here for these gentlemen, as both of them need to count. That's a great shot there from Grady. He's now lying 2.
It's a great shot.
Pressure's on John here now to try to change that.
Yes, he can. He's still got plenty of room on this narrow side to come in. His line hasn't been too bad. It's just been a little bit extra weight.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it looks like his line is pretty good, but just that weight.
Just a couple feet through. I'm not sure if that's enough to be shot or not. I don't think so. It's still Grady's off to the side, but Marker would have a better view of that than we would.
Absolutely, it's almost impossible to tell from here.
Grady's last ball is coming down here now. He's got to be careful he doesn't chip that back.
Yeah, it does. And he didn't.
So pretty wide open here for John still. Just needs to take off a foot to guarantee shot and force that tie break.
He's having a careful look at the head now. Hoping perhaps he didn't have to play the last bowl, but he's going back with slowly backwards, keeping an eye on it.
Mm-hmm.
Should have worked out the line now that he wants to bowl on.
Yeah, I would think that he should have it figured out here by now. We'll see if he can...
it's on its way, and everything depends whether we go to a tiebreaker or Grady wins. All on this bowl. And John may have run a foot too far.
I was going to say it looked a little spicy, but not nearly as spicy as I thought coming out of his hand.
No, it's a little deceiving, isn't it, up there?
It is. So, see what the situation is here. Wouldn't be surprised if they put a measure to it.
He's kicked one ball out.
So if that's 1 to Grady, then that's
that
the game.
will be the match.
So Grady will for sure win this.
But I'm not sure whether that ball was there. I guess for plus minus, but...
yeah.
One of John's gone out, so it's up to this bowl. Yeah, I think that's pretty safely Grady's win.
Yep. So, after they finish measuring here, that'll be it for now, and we'll be back in about an hour and 20 minutes with the next round. As the lads shake hands. Thanks for commentating with me again, Phil.
Yeah, welcome, Jake. Absolutely.
So we'll stop for lunch and be back in a little over an hour.
Yes, roast pork.